your name, so please forgive me if I just butchered your name. Tabiso, you are from Mahlamela High School in Limpopo. Project is funded by Vesuvius, I think that's how you say the name of the funder. And then we have Matapelo, all the way from Vereeniging, not too far from where I am. Hi there, Matapelo. And then we have Olisile Khatebe from KZN, Sawona, Olisile. And then who else we have? Then we have Chandra from the Western Cape. I think, Chandra, you the first person I've seen so far from the Western Cape. Welcome. Then we have quite a number of, I love the mix in the room. Misha, another person from the Western Cape, from Cape Town. And then we have, let's see who else is in the space. We have Alexandra, also from Cape Town. You are based at the Pinnacle Accounting Firm. Then we have Zanele Ntuli, who's based at the Lelo Trading in Durban, KZN. Then we have Kwazi, also from Durban. I see Durban is definitely represented in this space. You are based at the Premier Auto Services in Durban North. And then we have Yandisa, who's based in Kempton Park, Johannesburg. And the site where they are based in is, hold on while I get to it. The site that they're based in is at, she's an intern at Snowflake Technologies. And then we have Ramono Pilani based in Reloboka Special School. And then we have, Osil, I see your hand is up. Kindly mute yourself as well. Do you want to say something quickly? I don't know if your hand is up by mistake or if it's intentional. But if it's by accident, you can just lower your hand. Osil, do you want to say something? Your hand is raised. You can just put your chat in the, all right, cool. And yeah, all right, awesome. I'm seeing a lot of people in this space. I may not get to everyone just because of time constraints, but I see Eastern Cape, Western Cape is in the room. I see Shane stand up. I see you, Nomvula. I see you, Tsechofato. Yeah, keep sharing in the chat, everyone, where you're from. I see more people are entering the space and I'm excited by that. Dineo Mokwena, I see you. I guess in the interest of time, I'm going to hand the mic over to Pindile. I know you'd like to address everyone in the space, the young people in the space. Pindile, over to you.
Thank you so much, Letiwe. Hi, and hi everyone. Welcome to the session. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you for introducing yourselves. It's lovely to see that we have people from basically everywhere. Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you so much for attending the session this afternoon. I just wanted to just show, Dineo, if you could please just show, we have just two slides that I want to talk about quickly before you begin, Letiwe. And while Dineo is getting that ready, I just want to remind all of us the importance of, submitting our registers every end of the week. That's very, very important because it also informs, your salary. Because if you don't submit your register, it does affect your salary. Okay. And also, very, very important, I need to know from everybody if you have any issues with your apps, because that's very, very important. That's what I want to talk to you guys about. I have a slide that is showing now. It's Yes Life app. I'm hoping that at least all of us have started with our apps. Okay, the Yes Life app is basically designed to assess and measure your work quality experience. So weekly, monthly, just throughout your process, we want to be there for you, making sure that you guys are actually coping, you guys are actually doing the work, and you're not struggling with anything. So it's quite important that everybody responds to us. If you're having any connection problems, if there's a reason why you're not able to do your apps, we need
Hi, Pindile. I'm not sure what happened. Sorry, Pindile, you cut off for like a few minutes. Can you just repeat what you said about the app? Explain the app. Pindi? Pindi, I don't know if you can still hear
Hi, Pindi,
me,
are you still here?
For a few minutes. Hi, while we wait for Pindi to get back on, can I please ask everyone to please mute their mics so that there isn't an echo? Pindi, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
I think Pindi is experiencing load shedding. She did say that her network may be a bit unstable.
Is that Dineo?
Yes, this is Dineo.
Hi, Dineo. Please, please, do you maybe want to complete what Pindi was saying? Do you know what she wanted to stress?
Okay, no problem. So what Pindi was trying to say that as we are all here, I'm sure some of you are on your month too. Some of you we are all in different months on the year program. We must make sure that we complete our apps on a weekly basis because of the survey that tracks your attendance and tracks your courses that you have completed so far. So it's very, very important that you complete those apps on the Yes Life app and make sure that you are activated. If you are not activated, kindly post on the chat box so that we can assist you, so that you can be able to complete those apps. It's very, very important. I hope that we are clear on that. And then moving on the Yes for Youth app, I'm sure everyone here is also familiar with this app. Is there anyone who has been struggling in completing the app? Okay, I see a few people struggling with load shedding on the chat box. Hi, Felicia. I see your hand is up. Yes, you can answer. Ms. Stefani, would you like to say anything? Your hand is
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, I am Ms. Stefani from the Eastern Cape. We have not yet received the Yes phones, smartphones yet. So I do feel very registered, but I do not have any app to log on to.
Okay, which month are you? Because normally you would receive your Yes phones when you're on month 4 on the Yes program.
I'm on month 2.
Yes. So probably when you arrive around month 4, that's when you'll receive your Yes phone.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
No problem. Any question in regards to the apps? Okay, I see a comment. Your IP number is not pick up. It's probably because of you did not activate your app. So it's very important when we send out invitations to activate your app to attend. So if you can kindly send me your email so that I can send you the details of the session when you need to activate your Yes app. You can just post on the chat box your email if you're struggling with logging in the Yes apps. Let's see where.
No.
Yes, I think
May
that's all
I
from
proceed?
my side in regards to the app.
Okay.
So we will be able to assist them further.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me switch on my video. Thank you so much, Tineo and Pindi, for that. I hope everyone heard what was shared. Just to emphasize two things that at least I took note of for more submit your registers, because doing so you to have your payments done, the payment done. Can I ask everyone to please switch off their videos just for now, because people are struggling with internet connection. There may be some load shedding happening. So I think the fewer people who have their videos switched on, the better. Yeah, so please do switch off your video for now. But there will definitely be a chance in the course of the session when we can switch on our videos. Can I also ask that we keep our mics muted, unless of course you'd like to say something. So yeah, please do make sure that your mic is muted and there's no background sound. Actually, one thing I wanted to say as an emphasis to what Dineo and Pindi said is the app as well. So they spoke about the register, the importance of submitting your register, and then the app as well, to please make sure that you activate your app. And if you have any challenges, to enter your email address in the chat box and you'll be contacted and assisted with you setting up your app. All right, I'll jump straight into it without any further ado. I'm going to share my screen shortly, but for the sake of reminding ourselves of who I am, my name is Letiwe Sinotumokosi. I am part of the Youth Capital team. And Youth Capital, for those who may have forgotten since we last met, because it's been a minute since we gathered in this space, since we had a session together. Youth Capital is a youth-led advocacy campaign with an action plan that reflects young people's lived experience, but also says what research has to say about the roadblocks that young people face on their way to getting their first quality job, to becoming economically active. And today's session will be looking at one of the calls to action in our action plan that is titled Grow Our Circle, zooming in on the value of social connections. So yeah, we'll be digging deep into that during this session. But before we begin, having an in-depth conversation, I just want to do a quick icebreaker. And the icebreaker is really a question. I'm going to ask as many people as possible to respond to this question by raising your hand and raising your hand and sharing your answers to the question. So the question is, what book, what hobby? So I can ask people who are not muted to mute themselves. Christopher, if you could please mute yourself. As well as Lauren. Please make sure that you are muted, unless of course you've asked to speak. So I'm just gonna. So Christopher, I can ask you to please mute yourself. Thank you so much. All right, awesome. So the question I'd like to pose to everyone as an icebreaker is, what book, what song, what hobby would you recommend to a friend or to a peer, and why? I'll say it again. What book, what song or hobby? So it's either a book, a song, or a hobby. Which would you recommend to either a friend or a peer, someone you work with? What would you recommend and why? Takers in the room. So you can raise your hand and then I will acknowledge you. And then you can respond. I'll give us about 5 minutes just under 5 minutes actually, for people to respond to the question. I see Andy Siwa. I don't know if your hand is raised for that, as well as Carabello. I'll start with you, Andy Siwa. Unmute yourself, please, and share with us what book or song or hobby would you recommend to a friend or a peer, and why?
Good day, everyone. My name is Andy Somaraso. I am from Devon, in a primary school, in Senzuluhle Primary School. I would recommend playing sports and exercising. Exercising always helps you distress and occupies enough time so that you won't have more time in your more time to do the wrong things, so you can exercise. It's always keeps you motivated and looking forward to do more in order for you to gain in the circle of people you with. You gain friends, you gain brothers in the team if you join a team. It's always good to do sports or exercise. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andy. So sorry, I mispronounced your name earlier. Karabelo, would you like to go next? And then I see you, Josiana.
Yeah, Zoom meeting.
Hello. I was gonna talk about the apps that I'm not able to open my apps.
Okay. So just as noted earlier by Janelle, please send your email address in the chat, and then you'll be assisted. But while you have your mic unmuted, Carabello, would you like to answer the question, what book or song or hobby would you recommend to either a friend or peer, and why? Why would you make that recommendation? Do you have an answer? If you don't, it's fine. We will move on to Josiana.
Can I come back to you with that one?
No problem, no problem. Josiana, I hope I've said your name correctly. Please unmute yourself.
Okay, good day. You're not far. It's Huiti One. You're not far, but fine. Okay, I will recommend a book, a novel, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. Reason being one, I believe some of you should like the depth of you that the report that came, I think, within a month ago. It stated that youth between the age of, I think it's 19 and 27, most are in debt. So the reason why I recommend the book is because of it highlights how we should use money. We utilize money, make our money work for us instead of money using money. Like the money you get, you must make it to work for you. For instance, when COVID broke, most people lost their jobs. Some are still trying to recover from that.
Yeah.
So because of what I realized that our educational system doesn't teach us how to make money or use money. It teaches us how to work for money. So yeah, I will recommend that book.
No, thank you so much, Josiana. Thank you for sharing. I've noted that I've made a mental note of that. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask Felicia if you could be the last person to answer the question, and then we will move on. Felicia, please unmute yourself. Felicia, are you there? Felicia? Okay, it looks like Felicia's having a bit of a problem. Lebogang, if I can ask you to mute yourself and everyone else in the space to please mute yourself unless you're answering a question, sharing a thought. Felicia, I'm going to try. Okay, Felicia, I see now your mic is working. Please unmute yourself. Hi, Felicia. Felicia, hi. Okay, I'm going to ask that we proceed. Maybe Felicia, what you could do, because we don't want to lose your thought. We do want to hear what you wanted to say. Please do chat in the chat box. And yeah, can I also ask people not to play around with writing on the PowerPoint presentation? Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, cool. So I'm going to move on and to explain that, it might seem like a very random exercise, right? To think about what book, what hobby, what song we would recommend. But the reason why I did that is because, strong social connections are based on trust. And when you recommend whatever you may recommend to a friend, to a peer, they will take what you said seriously because they trust what you said, right? So I wanted to establish the fact that our recommendations hold weight. Our recommendations, are taken seriously by our peers, by our friends, because of the trust we have, because our social connection to them is strong. You will see here, I've said that social connections matter because, for one, social networks or connections equals to social capital. And what we mean by social capital is that we're talking about the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of experience and skills you can gain from that social connection. So to the point, I think it was, I'm trying to remember who said this, but they spoke about, recommending playing soccer because soccer is good for, it's good for your health, and it gets you to exercise and move away from doing destructive behavior. That is wealth of knowledge, right? So if I'm friends, with the person who said that in the space, then when I do follow their advice, follow their recommendation, I get to gain knowledge about, okay, I can take care of myself by exercise, like by doing a sport. So social networks matter because of the social capital, when we talk about social capital, talking about the wealth of knowledge, the connections that you gain in that relationship. I'd like us to quickly watch this video that expands on why social connections matter, why social networks are important.
Hey, Lisa, do you know what social capital is?
Not much, Adam. What is social capital?
Social capital is the wealth you get from social connections that provide mutual benefit. It's like money, but measured through friends and acquaintances. Shared norms and values bring people together in a group or organization where they're able to cooperate and work towards a common purpose.
Oh, okay. Is there anything else I should know about social capital?
Well, there are two main types of social capital. The first type is bonding, which happens inside a community. It's about the connections between similar groups of people that share the same characteristics. The second type is bridging, which occurs between communities, groups, and organizations that bring people of different backgrounds together.
So, what is the difference between bonding and bridging?
The difference between bonding and bridging is that bonding occurs within a similar community, whereas bridging happens across social groups, classes, cultures, religions, and other categories.
How do bonding and bridging apply in real life?
I'll give you some examples. Neighbors have social capital and they borrow each other's garden tools. This is an example of bonding. Joining a soccer team helps you meet people outside your social group and form connections. This leads to mutual benefits and reciprocity that happen in the future. This is an example of bridging.
Ah, okay, I get it now. But why is it important?
Great question. We all benefit from having social capital. It gives us access to different people, ideas, and opportunities. It helps us get to the things we need and want faster. Say you lend your neighbor your lawnmower, and now you want to borrow their wheelbarrow to move some soil. You ask your neighbor and they lend it to you. This is called reciprocity. The exchange involves social interaction that strengthens the bond between neighbors and benefits everyone. With social capital, you can share information and resources, be helpful, and build trust.
Exactly how do I build my social capital?
You can do it at work, school, camp, with neighbors, your boss, or even random people on the street.
How can I do that?
The trick is to do more than talk and exchange business cards or contact information. It's about meeting different people to get introductions and build relationships. People who will help you achieve your goals and are willing to speak for you. Focus on people who support you, like friends and colleagues you already know, and new people you want to meet and have something in common with.
Oh, okay. I get it now. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot.
No problem. Anytime, Lisa.
All right. I hope everyone is able to see and hear that. do give me a thumbs up. So use the reaction function to give me a thumbs up to let me know that you were able to hear what was said. But I just want to highlight a few points that were made in the video. Firstly, in general, thank you, Felicia, for the thumbs up. In general, when we think about social connections or social capital, we're talking about relationships that give us access to opportunities, to information. So I really want to stress the importance of having trust in your social connections, because then what you share, what information you share will be taken seriously because of the trust in the social connection. Can I please ask everyone who's not muted to mute themselves? Thank you so much. Yeah, please stay muted unless you'd like to add to the session. Be mindful that your mic is on mute, so there are no background sounds. Okay, great. So in the video, we were reminded, it was emphasized that social connections allow us to access opportunities, information that we need. And then it was also highlighted that, you know, the different types of social connections, you have bonding and you have bridging. So with bonding, it's in a relationship where you have common interests. So if you're part a community group, your neighbors, you have similar interests in that community. That would be an example of a bonding kind of social connection. And then you have the bridging, where you have people from different backgrounds coming together. So imagine a soccer team, particularly a soccer team that consists of players that come from different parts of the community, you know, that haven't met in a relatively different interests, except for obviously the common interest in soccer. So you have those two, and in those two types of connections, you know, it's important to understand that through those connections, you're able to really access opportunities. And that's why it's so important. Social connections matter, because through your connections, you get to learn more, you get to be exposed to different ideas, different opportunities that are out there. Also, just to say that, you know, through your social connections, another example of sharing an opportunity is the online course that you are part of. Imagine the difference it would make if you told your peers about the online course that you're doing, that the Yes online course. Imagine the difference that would make when you share it with a young person that you know who's looking to equip themselves as they're trying to enter the labor market. Now, social connections matter. They also matter because the absence of social connections, the lack of social connections point to a systematic barrier that young people face on their journey to becoming economically active. A study was made by a research unit at UCT. The acronym for it is SALTRO. This study, it was done between 2014, 2015, and it was released in 2016, but it was found that in the year 2014, 6 out of 10 individuals found employment through someone that they knew. Now, I will say that again so that it's 6 out of 10 individuals. Through the study, it was found that they found employment through someone that they knew. In other words, if you don't know someone who can help you access an opportunity, the chances of you staying unemployed are quite high. And this is a problem considering the number of young people, particularly in South Africa, who are unemployed. Another study that was done, and it's actually put together in a report, the Siaka report, it was released in 2016, said that fewer than 3 people in the, fewer than 3 people know people in their networks that they could find job advice. So in other words, fewer young people, or fewer people in general, rather, find opportunities because of someone in the household. It's highly unlikely for a young person to be in a household where they can get job advice, right? So their social connection is within their own household. And so that's why it's important that as young people, we should advocate for young people to have strong social connections. We should grow our circle. And as Youth Capital, it is one of our calls to action when we say that as young people transition from a place of learning, right? So you've gone to high school, or maybe you were able to go to a college. As you transition into the labor market, one of the key points of support that you need is a strong social connection. Your network needs to be strong enough for you to know what opportunities exist, to get advice on how to apply for work, to know about an online course that you can do to better equip yourself, right? It is important that young people get that kind of support, because without that support, that is a roadblock. And as you can see here, what we have in front of you is our action plan that consists of 10 calls to action that identify the roadblocks that young people face on their journey to their first quality job and becoming economically active. And growing our circle is one of those roadblocks. The lack of strong connections is one of those roadblocks. And that's why the call to action as Youth Capital is that young people's social networks needs to be increased. We need to grow young people's social capital, irrespective of where you may live. You know, even though you may live in a remote community, we're saying that we need to advocate for young people to have strong social connections. And so to that point, actually, I know I've done a lot of talking, but I want to hear more from you in the space, because I'm sure you can relate to the importance. Well, I'd like to hope that you can relate to the importance of social connections. I'm going to attempt to put you in breakaway rooms, although I am aware of the fact that people may have some internet connections. So I'm going to try to create breakaway groups where in your small groups, you can answer the questions that you see in front of you. So maybe it might be helpful, because as you go in the breakaway rooms, you will not have these questions in front of you. So if on a notebook somewhere, if you could just scribble down the following. Think of a time when you heard about an opportunity through someone you know, right? Whether while you were at school or after you were done with school, but just think of a time when you heard about an opportunity through someone you know. Once you've thought about that time and you're like, okay, I remember this one time, then I'd like for each person in the group to answer these 3 questions. Question 1, who was the person that you heard the opportunity from? What kind of relationship did you have with them? Were they a friend, were they a relative, were they a peer, were they a friend of a friend? Because also to say that social connections sometimes may not be direct and intimate. You may know someone through someone. So who was the person that told you about the opportunity, and what kind of relationship did you have with them? 2, what opportunity did they share with you? Was it study opportunity? Was it a work opportunity, maybe a promotion work? What kind of opportunity, what opportunity did they tell you about? And then lastly, what difference did it make for them to share that with you, right? So in your groups, as I said, I'm gonna put you in your group, but I'll also walk into the different groups. I see already someone has responded. I'm glad you have something to say in your group. But I'm going to put you in your group, in your breakaway groups. I'll give you 10 minutes to discuss these 3 questions. I'm going to ask each group to please ask someone or elect someone or ask someone to volunteer to scribe. And as the scribe, you can just write the main points. So, you know, the main points about who the person is that shared the opportunity, what kind of opportunity, just the main opportunities that people share in the group. And then the difference that people spoke about in the group, you know, whether it made them acquire more knowledge, whatever difference it may have made, whatever people share in terms of the difference made through someone sharing an opportunity with them. So the scribe will make notes of the main points. And then when we come back, you'll also have 10 minutes to share. Okay, I'm going to put you in your groups, but before I do, are there any questions for clarity? Please write them in the chat. I'll give us 2 minutes to ask any clarifying questions you may have. Anyone with the question? If there are no questions in the room, okay, I see someone has posted a message. Thank you for sharing it. Just to say that you can just share in your groups. I see user 284784 is already written in the group. But I'm asking you if you could please reserve your responses to your group discussion. All right. Yes, to answer your question, Cash, any language you can respond. Any language you can respond in. I am relatively fluent in most languages, so I can always translate in the event that translation is needed. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to put you in, just to say that the groups are going to be very random. Yeah, they're not, premeditated groups, just random. And I've just stopped sharing my screen. Actually, let me also rewrite the instructions in the chat. Okay. Okay, you'll see I've just posted the instructions that you'll have 10 minutes that you need to find someone who will be the scribe, the one who making notes and reporting back. Just to repeat the questions again, think of a time. So firstly, it's important to first think of a time when someone shared an opportunity with you. And as you've figured out that moment, answer the question one, who was the person, what kind of relationship did you have with them? 2, what opportunity did they share with you? And 3, what difference did it make to you that they shared that opportunity? All right, okay, cool. So I'm gonna now put you in your breakaway rooms. Okay. Okay, so you'll be asked to enter a room. Please accept. You'll see a pop-up message. Oh no, don't worry if you're attending as an individual. I'm going to put you in a break. So you'll find yourself in a breakout room with other people. So it's not that, don't worry about the fact that you are attending the session by yourself. You'll be put in like a virtual room and you'll talk to other people in the room. I'll also be coming in and out of the rooms. Okay, so don't worry about it. Thanks for that question. Yeah, so I'm about to open the rooms now. You'll get a pop-up message saying, join a room, and then you'll be redirected. All right, and in 3, 2, 1. So just accept, I see some people are not in the rooms yet, so just accept the invitation to enter a room.
Hi, everyone. Did we all get the question that needs to be answered?
No, can you please repeat it for me, please?
Okay, no problem. So the first question was, who was the person who told you about an opportunity and what kind of relationship do you have with that person? Did you get it, Diego?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, so if you can, maybe someone can raise up their hand or unmute or write in the chat box, answer that question. Spusiso, Kwazi, Kolisile, are you guys here?
Yeah.
So none of you guys have had an opportunity who you were introduced by someone you know.
No, I have been introduced to an opportunity by someone I know.
Okay. So what
Okay,
kind
so
of, yes, you can continue.
Okay, the relationship I had with the person, he was a friend of mine from school.
Okay.
Yes, so he was the person who put me into the years program actually.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the second question was, what opportunity did they share? Okay, you just said that it was a years program opportunity. Okay, the third question is, what difference did it make in your life?
Okay, so the difference I can say made in my life is that I was supposed to be unemployed this year because I graduated last year.
Okay, so your contract has already ended.
Yeah, so I was at least able to get an internship for the program.
Okay.
So
And
that's
how would you say the program changed your life? Can you hear me?
Okay, so it changed my life because maybe I was supposed to be unemployed and sitting at home. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, you can continue.
Okay, so the opportunity changed my life in a way that I was supposed to be unemployed and at home this year. So I was able to get an internship and keep myself busy and gain working experience.
Okay. Okay. So Kwazi, Kolisile, Monique, would you guys like to share? I see Kwazi, you've unmuted. Yes, hi Kwazi.
Hi, let's answer like the first question.
Okay.
First question was the person who introduced. Okay. I was introduced to well, let's just say a job, but then it was a call center. I was introduced to it by a friend.
Your friend. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and how would you say it
I think
has made a difference in your life? How did that opportunity make a difference?
Well, basically, I learned a lot there. I was able to adjust to the working environment, and as time went by, I think I made a lot of. I actually met a lot of people who gave me further opportunities because I had about a year's youth program from there. So I'd say my network sort of expanded.
Okay. Okay, that's nice. Anyone else would like to share? Monique, are you here? I haven't heard your voice.
Yes, sorry, I just was busy with something, but I'm here.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for confirming. Okay. Tieho, am I saying your name correctly?
Yeah, you're saying right, actually.
Okay, so would you like to share the experiences that you and
Sibusiso shared. And Kwazi said, sorry, Kwazi, you and Kwazi shared. Because of we will be given 10 minutes to share what you guys have spoke about in the breakaway room.
Because my network connection is actually bad.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm saying, would you like to share on our behalf what we have shared here in the breakaway room, what you have shared, and also what Kwazi have shared when we return to the main meeting?
Okay, I can hear you, but I don't know, maybe Kwazi can do because my network connection is bad.
Okay, Kwazi, are you able to do that?
I'll try to do it.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Please. All right. I think welcome back everyone. Sorry for the challenges you may have faced in terms of your connection, and also just sorry that I had to abruptly end your group discussions. I just wanted us to get back in the room. Yeah, just to want to stress once again, please make sure that your mic is on mute so that the noise in the background is not interfering with our discussion. All right, I'm going to jump straight. I'm going to reshare my screen again, and then I will ask maybe just a few volunteers, like 5 people at most, to share what was said in the group or what you would like to say individually. So can I see 5 hands raised? Can I get my first 5, and then we'll see if there's enough time for more hands. So let's actually start with 3 hands for now. All right, cool. So Simangela, I've noted you, I'll go with you first. And then, okay, so it's going to be Simangela who has posted in the group, and I'll read your comment in the group, Simangela. Next, Khotsiana, you'll go next. The third person will be Tandiswa. Then the 4th person will be Ms. Tafane. I hope I've said that correctly. And then the last person would be whose last name is Maseko. Bontle, if you could be the last person for now, and we'll see if there's enough time for more people. So what Simangele has said that in group 12, we had a problem with connection. We were not able to answer the questions, but maybe you can write what was said, Simangele. Maybe, I don't know if it's possible to answer in the chat. Okay, so it's name in group 6. Anyone from group 6, maybe who's raised their hand? I see your point about language. We'll try to address that shortly. In the meantime, Khotsiana, if you could go next, please. Share what was shared, the main points that were shared in your group. Khotsiana, please unmute yourself. Khotsiana, are you there? Okay, well, we're having trouble with Khotsiana unmuting themselves. Tandi, so if you could unmute yourself, please, and share what was shared in your group.
Okay, hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. So basically what I gathered, just in short, is that most of us got opportunities from people that are family.
Sorry, Tandi, so you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me still?
Now we can hear you.
Okay. So as I was saying, one thing I gathered is that most of our opportunities came from people we knew personally, so family members. Like myself, it was from my father, and then other people in the group from the grandmother and sister, and then there's one that was from a classmate. And most of these opportunities were job opportunities and an internship. And then my opportunity was a youth leadership program. And basically with these, it was more of gaining more knowledge in the field that they did.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tandisa, for sharing. Can I please can't stress this enough. Can I please, please mute your mics. Please mute your mic so that we can hear each other. So if your mic is not muted, please make sure that your mic is on mute. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to go with Mr. Fan next, and then we're not going to be able to get to everyone. So please forgive me if I'm not going to get to you, but maybe what you can do, like Keleto, if you could please write in the chat what you want to share in response to the questions. Mr. Fan, if you could please unmute yourself to share what was shared in your group, the main points.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. In my group, it was shared that the opportunities that they got were from relatives and friends. The opportunities were job opportunities. The second person, it was a tutorship. And the difference that made was huge because the person didn't have a sponsorship at the university. So the tutorship was supplementing for that. Yes, that's it from my group. Thank you.
Thank you so much, short and sweet. I'm going to move on, but I want to stress, okay, maybe let me honor my promise. Bontle, if you could go next, keep it short and sweet, please. Unmute yourself and share what was shared in your group, the main points. Bontle, can you hear me? Bontle Maseko.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks. Go ahead.
Good. So the person who gave me this job opportunity was my former classmate. So we used to work together with like a lot of projects in high school. So I remember I didn't get funding from NSFAS, so like my life was miserable. So getting a call from him telling me about this lovely opportunity from Columba Leadership, it was the best thing ever in my life. And now I'm able to use a laptop. Now I'm able to communicate with other people. Now I'm confident about myself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, I'm going to ask us to pause here, but there'll definitely be other opportunities for people to share their experience. But what I could pick up from what was said, just the overarching ideas was that, your, what you would call your bonding kind of social networks. So like your relatives with, who are people that are in your close contact, you have a bonding relationship with, you have common interests. They're the people who share opportunities with you. Were studied, like working, able to be economically active, not become discouraged job seeker because the people in your life and I can't enough that it is important for young people to get to an opportunity to innovate it as we look for to the last bit. I know we have like 5 minutes left, but what I want to share with everyone is I want to share, I would like to share with you a few things to note. We would like to hear experience and how you can do that. So there are a couple of ways in which you can remain connected to us. The first way is to complete a Google form that I'm about to share now in the chat. I'm going to share this Google form with you. Please complete this Google form, and it's important because, wait for it, the first 10 people, I repeat, the first 10 people to complete the Google form will get data, a data booster, like you'll get data purchased for you. Data top up. I was trying to find this word. Data top up. So you'll get your data topped up. So please, the first 10 people, be one of the first 10 people, because when you are, then you'll get a data top up. And also in the form, we are asking you to raise your hand to participate in the campaign. The campaign is really about advocating for young people's circles to grow our circles. So yeah, do fill in the form, be one of the 10. You can then also join the WhatsApp group. Some of you are already part of the WhatsApp group that we have for campaigners, capital campaigners. But not only can you do that, you can also join the Facebook squad. So if you look at if you go on Facebook and you look for Youth Capital squad, you'll find it. I'll also share a link shortly. But also you can join the campaigners newsletter, and there you'll get to hear about what other young people who also want to make a difference, who also want to see young people who are able to, not face roadblocks on their journey to their first quality job, who know about opportunities that exist, who are really invested in ensuring that, as young people, we don't face a lot of roadblocks to a first quality job. So do join you get the chance to join the newsletter for campaigners. And then lastly, you can follow Youth Capital and share with us your thoughts. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. I see that there are hands raised, but I'm not able to respond to everyone. What I can do is I'm sharing with everyone now the WhatsApp number that you can use. So whatever questions you wanted to ask, please do send a WhatsApp message to this number that I've just posted. And then, but thank you all so much for spending your afternoon with me, for listening to what I had to say about the importance of social connections. And that's it for me. I don't know if, Dino, you have anything to say in closing?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you so much, Letue, for having and allowing yourself to host the session today. And I hope a lot of youth have learned a lot from today's session. So what I'd like us to do is to unmute ourselves and open our videos so that we can say goodbye to one another.
Hello.
Dango.
Hello, Buza. Hello, Buza.
You can ask on the chat box.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hello, Buza. Bye. Ay, mana, go